Cyclone Dikeledi, another African cyclone threat. So our first named storm of 2025, and it's another threat for Madagascar and the islands behind it, which of course were devastated by Cyclone Chido last month. Well, this storm currently at 13.6 degrees south, 60.8 degrees east, heading at a decent speed towards the west-northwest at 23 miles per hour. This is the latest as of 6 p.m. Eastern African time this January the 9th. 40 mile per hour winds and a pressure of 1002 millibars, although we do expect that this storm will be deepening gradually over the next couple of days, and possibly a little bout of rapid intensification before landfall cannot be ruled out, and that could propel it towards hurricane equivalent status. Well, its wind speed or its wind field is all over the place right now, mainly on its southern side extending the furthest, and probably none at all on the northeastern side right now. We've got some unofficial cyclone warnings that we've issued for parts of Madagascar right now. It is currently 574 kilometers from Agalega, which of course was also severely impacted by Chido. 782 northeast of Mauritius, 1138 from Antalaha, Madagascar, 1249 from Antsiranana on the northern tip of the island, and 1686 from Mayotte, which was of course severely impacted by Chido as well. So this system will be following almost in its footsteps, although we do expect that the track will have significant deviation. While the wind potential is still uncertain, the greatest risk we're concerned about right now is flooding potential near the center of the storm when it makes landfall and as it moves inland. Some areas of northern Madagascar could receive over 300 millimeters of rainfall in a fairly short amount of time, which will obviously cause major flash flooding concerns. Additionally, some other locations such as Mayotte could get up towards 200 millimeters of rain. Well then, let's take a look at the forecast over the next 7 days or so, and you can see how we expect the storm will rapidly move into Madagascar, then it will slow down over the weekend, and then it will start to curve southwesterly, and then even towards the south towards the middle of next week through the Mozambique Channel, and that will give it an opportunity, if it does move that way, to gather some additional strength as it moves over some of those tiny islands in the Mozambique Channel. Well, 40 miles per hour right now, Meteo France going around 50 miles per hour actually. JWC, we've got it listed there, but they've still actually not declared this a tropical cyclone yet. I don't really know what they're doing. I'm very surprised that they haven't actually followed suit and even named it yet, but obviously it does have a name from the officials at Meteo France. Well, either way, the ATCF is depicting 40 mile per hour winds, so they should follow suit with that shortly. And this is the latest track map from Meteo France, calling for 2 hurricane equivalent peaks there. The first one before landfall in Madagascar, then it loses strength, then it picks up again as it starts to delve down towards the southwest there. Big question mark there for the coast of Mozambique, whether the storm will manage to get that far west to affect land or not, or whether it will stay closer to Madagascar. Here are the unofficial watches and warnings that we've put out here. Those orange zones, storm conditions likely within 48 hours, and the yellow zones, storm conditions possible within 72 hours. These are the chances of tropical storm force winds in the next 5 days for selected locations in Madagascar. For Mayotte as well, 72% there, and for parts of Mozambique, getting up towards 40% in a few areas along the eastern coast. Here's the GFS forecast model for the next 7 days, and you can see again it's quite similar to the Meteo France forecast cone actually, although it takes the storm much further towards the west there, almost running straight into the coast of Mozambique, but turning at the last minute, moving southwards. There's another peak there, hurricane force, but it looks like this storm will hold out and not get much stronger than Category 1 status, although there is always that potential, and of course we are very mindful after what Chido did, which was forecasted only to become a Category 2 at peak, and of course it got almost to Category 5. Well, this is the radar expectations here, simulated radar, showing all those red areas, very high, rapid rain rates there. The storm moves through quickly, but it will drop large amounts of rain as it does so, which is why we're concerned about flash flooding. For Mozambique, maybe not quite as much, but still a fair amount as the storm moves through, and then it moves off towards the south in those later frames. Of course, the later path of the storm could still be greatly influenced and changed on the forecast models, so keep watching places like Beira and further south there in Mozambique. The storm could still yet head your way. And looking at rainfall expectations then over that same time period, you'll see one or two particular areas in northern Madagascar that will get up towards 300 millimeters of rainfall, but also getting towards Mayotte as well, getting some significant rainfall there too, up towards 200 millimeters, and some parts of the coast of Mozambique getting above 100 millimeters towards 200 millimeters as well. You can see there depicted in inches. Approximately 1 inch is 25 millimeters. So you can see there a few areas of 10 inches, that would be around 250 millimeters in northern Madagascar. And finally, taking a look at the temperatures around this region, this is from the model, so it will probably read a little bit low. The sea surface temperatures there easily pushing 28 degrees Celsius, 29 and 30 on the western side of Madagascar, towards the Mozambique Channel, westwards near Mozambique as well. Land temperatures obviously much hotter, even up and above, up towards 40 degrees Celsius actually on the western coast of Madagascar. That's not too uncommon in the peak of summer, but nonetheless very hot temperatures along some of those coastlines facing the Mozambique Channel. Well, let's take a look at the latest satellite imagery of the storm, and it's not particularly compelling. It doesn't look very well stacked on this imagery, which is probably the main reason why the JTWC have been holding back. However, satellite wind analysis depicts that the center of circulation is probably closed, albeit it is very weak on the northeastern side. However, those convective tops that are occurring on that northeastern side right now will probably do it no harm. This system is looking decent. It's probably going to look even better as time goes on. It was throwing up massive amounts of convection overnight into this morning, not quite so much over the course of today, and the convective pattern not looking particularly well aligned either. But I imagine we are going to see a big uptick in the next 24 hours as the storm continues westwards. Might slow down a little bit, might be able to get its bearings a little bit better, but certainly in the meantime right now, the storm's still towards the low end of tropical storm status, around 40 miles per hour winds. You can follow it live on the Force 13 website, on our satellite pages where these images come from, and on our live tracker on the Force 13 YouTube channel, which is running 24/7, and we'll have further updates on this storm. Not least, also our tropical weather bulletins, which we will have another one later tonight at the usual time. That would be 3 a.m. Eastern African time, but we'll have several other updates during the course of this storm.